Let's start with the Denver Broncos situation, and I'd love for you to clear up what many people have, I think, conflated and confused as to, why would the NFL not push the game because so many quarterbacks go down? I know you know what the protocols are and what the rules that were agreed to before the season and what the latest might be. So lay it all out for me right here, Mike. Go for it.
Well, Rich, there was a time before the season where it was believed that in certain circumstances, if a team, for example, has no healthy offensive linemen, they're all on the COVID list or otherwise injured, or no quarterbacks, or some other competitive reason for postponing a game, that's when the commissioner would convene this external advisory panel that was put together as an alternative to the competition committee, because there would be conflicts of interest galore if you have current competition committee members making these decisions, that would be fair game, that games potentially would be postponed simply because, hey, we've got no healthy offensive linemen. In October, the league decided, and this was an ownership move, that that's not how it's going to work. Competitive issues will not drive these decisions. If you don't have guys ready to play, that's on you. There's enough roster flexibility this year, 53 guys on the active roster, 16 on the practice squad. You should have enough players to play, and at some level, it's your responsibility to ensure that your players stay on the right side of the virus. So for the Broncos, when Jeff Driscoll tests positive, when the Broncos, and actually this falls into the no good deed goes unpunished file, the Broncos found surveillance footage from their quarterback meeting room. They saw that there was a moment, or maybe longer, but not for the entire meeting, when guys didn't have their masks up. They sent it to the league. And when they heard back from the league said they're all knocked out for tomorrow's game. And the Broncos had basically 24 hours to figure out what they were going to do. But that's how it works. And the Broncos lobbied aggressively to get the game delayed a day or two so they could get their quarterbacks back who had not tested positive, were just on this COVID-19 reserve list. The league said, no, we're not going to do it. The game is going forward. The contrast is the Ravens situation, an uncontained outbreak where the league still didn't know how deep the rabbit hole went, whether the transmissions were still happening. They weren't going to let the Ravens back into the facility. They weren't going to put them on the field until they know that it's over. And they still haven't concluded that it's over. Tuesday night's game could still get moved, but that's the difference. Competitive reasons will never postpone a game. Reasons related to an uncontained outbreak, that's when the NFL, at this point, will say we're going to slide a game back a day or two or longer.
So what is the status right now of twofold, the quarterback's room in Denver, and then that Tuesday night game, and thus the pushed Monday night game, Thursday night game, the Monday for the Ravens? What's the current status of both of those situations, Mike?
Well, in Denver, it's just a matter of the procedures unfolding that would get the guys back who didn't test positive. There's the two levels of COVID-19 reserve list. You test positive, you're knocked out for at least a week, week and a half. You get put on it because you had close contact with someone who's positive. You can come back in as short as 5 days, and they should get their guys back, barring a positive test by any of them, whether it's Drew Lock or Brett Rippon or Blake Bortles. Those guys should be back. My understanding was today, possibly tomorrow, either way in time for next week's game, Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. As it relates to the Ravens, look, we went from Thursday, we went to Sunday, now we're at Tuesday. They were assembled in the facility, properly spaced, at 9:25 a.m. Eastern this morning, waiting for word from the NFL as to whether or not they could have a 9:30 a.m. walkthrough. The league said, no, can't do it. Postponed, and I saw Albert Breer reported until 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is specifically relevant, Rich, because by then the Ravens will have their daily PCR off-site testing results back. It depends on how close you are to a laboratory. The Ravens are close to a laboratory. They get theirs late afternoon, early evening. So I think the NFL wants to see, are there more positives today? And I think, and who knows, I don't want to make bad assumptions, but I assume if there's more positives today, no walkthrough. I don't know what that means about the game tomorrow night, but everything is still tenuous. It's still hanging in the balance. Yes, they were back in the facility last night on a voluntary basis for conditioning, but no practice yet, no green light yet to practice. And even though the game is still technically on, I sense that there's still a chance the game, based upon results of these tests today and tomorrow, the game could still end up being off.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.